Now, this is a story you would expect the lefties in our parliament to be screaming to the rooftops about, and yet there is deafening silence from the same mob who are usually so quick to cancel at the slightest whiff of any sexism. Speaking, of course, of what has been happening in Iran, the case of the Iranian woman, Mahsa Amini, who died in custody in Iran after being arrested for not wearing the proper hijab. Yes, there has been little condemnation of the Iranian regime. But I will call out this sexist and oppressive mob, and I'm calling on the lefties in the government to speak out on this issue, which impacts women. This is about women. And one woman who has spoken out repeatedly on this is, of course, the Liberal Senator Claire Chandler, who is pushing for the lefties in the Labor Party, the government, to speak up on the issue of Iran. Claire, great to see you. How are you?
Very well, thanks, Rowan. Thanks for having me on the show tonight.
Well, it's great to have you here. Now, you've highlighted the issue of Iran. It's been bubbling away in the background. People will have seen it on social media and so on. But no response from our governments, who are normally so quick to jump up and down about, the treatment of women anywhere other than Iran, really. Tell us about it.
Well, that's right, Rowan. Over the last few days, the last week or so, we've seen some truly terrible scenes out of Iran where, like you say, a young Iranian woman, Mahsa Amini, was killed while in police custody. And the police had arrested her with the morality police, and the crime that she apparently committed was not wearing her hijab correctly. And I think that this is just disgraceful behaviour from a country that has a place on the UN status for UN Commission for the status of women. And so that's why last week, when I heard about what had happened to Mahsa Amini, I called for the government to make some sort of statement about removing Iran from that commission. All the while, our Labor ministers have been at the United Nations in New York over the last week, getting selfies with dignitaries and posing for photo ops, but nothing about the case of Mahsa Amini and nothing about my calls to have Iran moved from this important position on the UN Commission for the Status of Women. It's incredibly disappointing.
It's not only disappointing, it's grotesquely hypocritical. We've also seen, do you think the reluctance on the part of Western governments to really speak out on this issue, is this anything to do with this bizarre virtue signalling that the left, and indeed your former foreign minister, Julie Bishop, certainly Jacinda Ardern, has indulged in this kind of virtue signalling of putting a hijab on to kind of, oh, here I am in supporting Islam or whatever it is. Whereas the hijab is a tool of oppression. Yet in the West, the left in particular, see it as something to virtue signal. Is this the nub of the matter?
Well, I think that's an interesting question, Rowan, but rather than delving into the how and the what and the why, I think we need to get back to the basics here, which is that this is a country that has a decades-long history of treating women abhorrently. A young Iranian woman has died in police custody. More women are dying and are being arrested and brutalised by police in Iran simply for protesting over the death of the original girl, Mahsa Amini. And I don't think there would be many common sense Australians out there who would look at these scenes and think that something mustn't be done to ensure that Iran isn't in a position on this commission for the status of women, for the UN Commission, where the way that they treat women is in effect being legitimised by the international community.
Now, Claire, I mentioned before that surely the lesson from Italy this weekend and from Sweden recently is that the way for Conservatives to win elections is to fight passionately for conservative values and to ruthlessly attack wokeness. That's how you are and a couple of your colleagues, and I applaud you for it, and Australians applaud you for it, but there ain't much support at the leadership level. Shouldn't the coalition be out on the front foot, fighting tooth and nail against the left's assault on everything, on all our traditional values, on so many fronts?
Well, I certainly think that the task for the coalition and the Liberal Party, in particular going forward after the federal election back in May, is that we do need to get back to first principles. We need to get back to basics, to the very concepts that are contained within the We Believe statement that Sir Robert Menzies articulated, and we need to be finding a way to present those views to the Australian public that provides a credible option at the next election. And I'm here tonight talking to you about some of the issues that I, as a member of the Shadow Ministry, am passionate about, and I know that my colleagues will be doing that into the future as well.
Fantastic. And Claire, just very quickly, what do you make of Georgia Maloney's victory on the weekend?
Oh, look, it's very exciting that Italy has elected its first female Prime Minister, and a female Prime Minister from the right as well, which is fantastic. But I do note that some of the media have been strangely silent about what this means for women in Italy and how exciting it is that they have their first female leader. And I do have to wonder whether, if she'd been a woman from the left, whether the media would have been quite so silent.
I think, Claire, you've answered your own question. Always great to chat to you, Senator Claire Chandler from Tasmania there. Great to have you on the show this evening, and thank you so much.